Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. All right, we are on to the third quarter, the third hour. Flying on by on this Tuesday morning. It is a Grind My Gears Tuesday, brought to you by Toyson Ford. What is grinding your gears, peeps? Let us know, all right? Hit us up on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line at 715-830-1912, or you can join the crew at the Section 105 chat on our YouTube stream. Coming up in about 15 or 20 minutes, we'll catch up with Mr. RJ Cardinal. Get the latest and greatest surrounding the Badgers down in Madison. What's he hearing? Boots on the ground and such. So we'll get to that. We'll get to some of your thoughts on what's grinding your gears, your sports confessions. All right, what do you confess sports-wise? It's a Feel Better Tuesday. Get something off your chest for grinding your gears and your confessions. Send those on over. Also, I'm not saying blank, but I'm just saying blank as Rando from Chippewa Falls with a couple. I'm not saying Illinois fans are sad, but I'm just saying that Green Bay is living rent-free in their head. I like it. Rando also saying, I think that they need to try to keep Bowers in the lineup where they can. His offense is a huge help. Cosign. I would agree. I think right now you strike while the iron's hot. Is Bowers going to keep up this pace? I'd say probably not, but let's see it play out. I think right now, keep doing it, especially given who you've got on the schedule in these teams. You're going to need to be able to score some runs. And right now, that guy is hitting he's playing like he's super confident at the plate right now. And he's got to give him more ABs. Right now. Keep him in the lineup. Find ways to keep him in the lineup. If that means benching Garrett Mitchell right now, I think you have to. Tim in the Cooley region, Chris Hook, absolutely number 2. He is masterful handling the pitchers. I wonder what the average age of the Brewers starters are compared to the rest of the league. Surveyor, there you go. Look it up because I'm going to get to your text here in a second, Surveyor, so I know you're listening. Read Tim in the Cooley Region's text. The average age of the Brewers starters compared to the rest of the league. All right, that's your homework assignment right now, Surveyor, due in the next 5 minutes. Surveyor says, okay, I'm not saying Murphy couldn't manage anywhere, but I believe that his tenure in Milwaukee is the main reason his strategy works. He's been there for 16 years, and in that time, while being the bench coach, who was there? Yelich, the one guy that you needed to buy into what you are delivering. Let's face it, Yelich has just as much to do with the successes as Milwaukee as Murphy. His management style needs to have the star buy in. And with the multitude of years of Murphy being that bench coach, you can tell him and Yelich have that long-time connection. I think that's a good point that you bring up, Surveyor, about the connection with Yelich and, having the player, your veteran, your star player buy in. I think that's a good one. It's still kind of, I go back to Mark Ananasio's comments when Pat Murphy was hired. And essentially, Ananasio didn't really think Murphy had a shot to get the job. Remember that? He pretty much, it kind of gave the impression that it was going to be a courtesy interview. Now, I don't know if that's just because, I hate to say it, but, age-wise, did they maybe not think, okay, he's going to be, we're going to go with a little bit of a younger route? Or they're going to try to bring in a new voice? I don't know. Or maybe he was just, and he also admitted to that, when Murphy was bench coach and such, they didn't have a ton of interactions. So it could have been just maybe Mark Anasio wasn't familiar so much with Pat Murphy and his style and his managerial style and his connection to the players and that, but yeah, I don't know. But boy, they hit it on the head with him so far. Right? Rando, Hook is second best. What he is doing with the pitching staff is second to none. This is like, maybe to put it in comparison, well, I'll give you a couple of comparisons here. Maybe it's like that head coach in the NFL paired up with that great coordinator. Ditka, Buddy Ryan. I know they had some of their issues and such, but I'm trying to think of, great head coach and a great play caller next to him. That maybe the play caller got a little extra credit and such over the head coach. You know what I mean? Though it's like that head coach and that great coordinator, whether it's offense or defense. The other comparison is maybe like if you know your NBA, Phil Jackson and Tex Winter, triangle offense. If you want to go a little bit into the my nerdism there, that's what it kind of feels like. Pairing up Murphy and Chris Hook. Tim says, I'm not saying that some Casper swag wouldn't be awesome to have, but I'm saying I'm going to do what I can to get a tee. Attaboy, Tim. I like the enthusiasm, Tim, in the Cooley region. Keep it going, bro. Keep it going. I got to get rid of some of this stuff so I can get some other stuff in. My office is overloading and such. So keep them going. Right now, we got Tim in the Cooley region and Rando. Looks like they're leading the way with some participation points. So, yeah, Chris Hook, man. We give a lot of love and attention, and rightfully so, to Pat Murphy, but you look at what Chris Hook has done with this program, with this team. It's been pretty remarkable. And remember who he replaced. He replaced Derek Johnson. Derek Johnson was a great pitching coach, too, for the Brewers. When he left to go to the Reds, to go back home, there was a lot of us Brewers fans. I was one of them. Okay, I was one of them too. Like, oh no, just why? That's such a huge loss because of what he was doing with the pitching staff. And we thought this was going to be a huge loss, and Brewers promoting Chris Hook. And I could say upgrade. They got it right, but Chris Hook, I mean, he played a little bit with the Giants, 95-96. Ended up with a 5-2 win-loss record, 44 strikeouts, 5.89 ERA, if you were just kind of wondering. But from 2004 to 2007, he was the pitching coach as well as the manager of baseball operations for the Florence Freedom of the Independent Frontier League. In 2008, he became the pitching coach for at that time, Huntsville Stars, Brewers AA affiliate. 2009 and 2011, he became the pitching coach for the Timber Rattlers. During the 2011 and 12 season, it was announced that Hook would return to AA Huntsville once more as pitching coach. He served as the Brewers AA pitching coach through 2017, then as the Brewers roving minor league pitching coordinator in 2018. And now he was hired as the Brewers pitching coach has held that position since 2018. By all accounts, try to keep this man in Milwaukee. Keep him in Milwaukee. Here we go. Look at Surveyor coming in the clutch. Milwaukee's average age is 27.4, and the pitching staff is 27.8, while the average age of Major League Baseball on opening day was 29.3, while active lineups are 28.7, and the average age of the pitching staffs are 29.9. So Am I correct in saying, Surveyor, the average age of the pitching staff for the Brewers is 27.8, and the average age for Major League Baseball's pitching staffs are 29.9, which we're talking Brewers are 2 years younger based off average. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, 2 years, then well, it actually kind of is. Rando says the Jackson Tex comparison to Murphy and Hook is dead on. Great comparison. Murphy could coach any place, but only if the star and the team leader buys in. With the way Yelich buys in, brings the rest of the team along. I think you guys are making some good points. I really do. Keep them coming, all right? Keep hitting me up, 715-830-1912, or join in on the Section 105 chat on YouTube. All right. Send me your Toys of Florida Grind My Gears Tuesday. What is grinding your gears? Your I'm not saying, but I'm just sayings. And what you confessing? All right. What are you confessing here this morning? Let's take a break. We're going to switch gears here for a little bit. We're going to talk some Badgers with Mr. R.J. Cardinal. He's coming up after these quick words. All right, we are going to switch gears here a little bit. We got plenty more Brewers and baseball talk to get to. We'll get back to some more of your texts and comments and that, but it's time to catch up with our good buddy, Mr. R.J. Cardinal, down in Madison. Happy Tuesday, R.J. How you doing, sir?
Oh, doing well. Happy Tuesday to you as well.
Yeah. So, hey, as in a tradition unlike any other, after we usually talk, there's used to be, or sometimes, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, there seems to be a little bit of a Badger news or nugget that pops up, and that's what happened last week after we talked and such. And,
right.
You know, we'd been talking a little bit about athletic director search, kind of quiet nap, but we found out the committee. And, you know, you got Chris Ballard on there, who is the GM of the Colts. You got Michael Finley, who's on there. You've got, you know, some business people and such. I guess first question to you, RJ, when you look at who's on that committee to find the new AD and such, did anything really kind of jump out to you or kind of interesting, or was it pretty like, no, this is kind of a typical committee?
It's definitely a Badger-centric committee.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think internally that's a good thing. You have people who and a lot of them are in high positions in pro sports right now. That's also a good thing.
Yeah.
So they know how to. They're either player personnel, they're GMs, they're interim GMs, and things across that nature, but it's people who understand at least how athletics run. So that's good. And having at least the committee that's joining the search firm, hopefully the search firm can listen to feedback from the committee, vice versa. And I don't ultimately, neither of them are making the decision, but it's something that you look at and say, yes, I need at least a Badger's ear, listening to what's going on. So, they didn't really define the role of the committee either. So I'm not sure what they're actually going to be doing, but I think it's another step towards an athletic department who has been seen as distant from alumni and the such, that they felt the need to bring in as many alumni as they could to be able to help at least visually be in on this decision.
So the one name that wasn't on there, Barry Alvarez, which I know some people are wondering, was that kind of interesting that he wasn't included and such? In your opinion, should he have been included on this search?
Well, his last hire of his career failed miserably, so there might be a reason he's not on this committee. So it's I'm not surprised he's not on it. I know at least on his own radio show, he's at least said publicly he's trying to get out of that. So maybe he said no to it. I don't know. But also, if you think of it, and on that committee, he might commandeer it in itself, and not because of a personality or anything like that. You'll still have people on that committee say that's Barry Alvarez,
Mm-hmm.
and that might get a little distracting. Who knows? Maybe behind the scenes, somebody's still asking him questions. But I mean, his last hire failed miserably.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see if there's any involvement there. But I'm actually okay with him not being on the committee as we're searching for a new athletics director.
Does anything about the committee maybe give us any clues potentially on who they could be targeting, or is that kind of maybe just reach a little bit? Because I think we're like, okay, is it going to be a former Badger, since it is very Badger heavy on there, or is it going to be maybe somebody from completely outside? Is there any clues that you think kind of give us maybe the direction of where they're going to be looking for this new athletic director?
I don't think so. Like I said, most of these people are in a pro sports management where it really doesn't matter where you're from. It just depends on your success. So, and the search firm they're using has placed a lot of good ADs as of right now. So having that help where a firm can identify good talent to put anywhere, that's a good addition. Maybe this committee might lean towards somebody with connections to the university, or have been like, hey, I worked with this person before, and they're not necessarily a Badger, but they have the same core values that we have at this university and can bring blah, 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 bring some sort of expertise in this field to here. So just because it's mostly all Badgers, I don't think it means they're going to be looking necessarily for a Badger to come take things over.
So this might be a stupid question, but I'm not sure. Do they have to make their interviews public, considering it's, institution and such, or could they keep it private?
That is a great question, because, there's been interviews before that on some things that you don't find out till after a hire, and it's like, oh, so-and-so also interviewed for that job. And you're like, oh, that's crazy. But one way or another, I think we find that names for interviewees get leaked or put out in public. So it's really one of, we didn't know about Luke Fickell up until he was hired, right?
That's true. Yeah, that's very true.
So I don't know if AD is a different kind of position where they'll have to disclose, but I don't think so. It just needs to be publicly posted for 2 weeks before they can make the hire. So I know they said they're looking to move quickly and get somebody in by this summer. I don't know if that's before the end of the academic year here, or as the academic year starts on July 1st. So, we'll see, but I'm guessing it could be one of those. Maybe a list emerges of people who were interviewed, but we might not know every person interviewed for the job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it seems like it makes sense to have the AD, the new AD in place before football season, but, the release said kind of by the summer, which, we're little past middle of May here. So maybe kind of a quick turnaround here.
Yeah, and you almost have to, but like we've talked in the past few weeks, that's quite the challenge to bring in the AD without a permanent chancellor in place as well, because that person's job depends on the chancellor. Mm-hmm. So, and usually, you find a chancellor who is geared towards academics, but understands the importance of athletics. So you'd hope that that person doesn't want to put their stamp on the athletic department as soon as they get in and just fire somebody to hire somebody, because that could end up being a bad look for Wisconsin. It's kind of like how the Bears were for a while. Draft a quarterback, a head coach has a bad year, get a new coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, it's a cycle like that, where you don't necessarily know what you're stepping into, and hopefully it's not something that turns into a cycle like that.
Right. Hey, switching gears over to a little bit of hoops, because late last week, Friday, Sam Decker is joining the college coaching ranks. Lamont Paris, a former Badger over at South Carolina. So Decker is going to become an assistant over there. My first thought was, when I first heard that, or one of my first thoughts, I should say, RJ, was, okay, when do Badgers fans start claiming for Sam Decker to be the new Badger men's head basketball coach? And because I feel like it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be another Jimmy Leonard sort of thing or whatever have you, but how do you think Sam Decker will do as a college basketball coach?
I mean, he's got enough knowledge to pass on to players, so it'll be interesting to see. I don't think he's ever held a coaching position before, but you know, his game speaks for itself. Hopefully he's one of those who can have a good game and be able to help players develop in a system. And I like, just knowledge wise, it's there for him. I just don't know if he's ever been on that coaching end of it. Mm-hmm. And usually you don't just get thrown right into an assistant spot on a D1 program. You work your way up and things like that. But awesome for him. I saw a lot of people who were like, oh, you had an open spot on your staff and you didn't hire this guy. Well, they hired Brad Davison. Like, that was a year ago. And I believe Decker was still playing basketball. So kind of hard to ask a guy to just, well, I guess Brad Davison did quit basketball to become a coach, but it's still kind of hard to ask a guy to do that. And yeah, I mean, good for him. I guess, you know, clamoring for him to become the next head coach at Wisconsin might depend on how well South Carolina does while he's there. But yeah, it'll be interesting to watch, and awesome for him. Wish him the best, except if they ever play Wisconsin. And yeah, pretty neat. But yeah, it's still one of those where you're like, oh, you were a honk for Wisconsin this whole time, and now we're not going to be getting those tweets anymore.
I know, right? Well, and then the other part I was wondering too, because of his career playing overseas, and you know, he had talked about victory with the Badgers picking him up. I wonder, could South Carolina maybe tap into that potential for Sam Decker's experience of playing overseas and maybe help with recruiting over there?
Yeah, very well could be. You know, he's played in a few countries over there, probably has some connections to be able to talk to people and recruit that way. So, yeah, and it's one of those, I think you do see a lot of colleges now going to that, where, I mean, the Badgers have like 2 or 3 foreign pros on their roster right now. So it'll be interesting to see how this continues to grow for college basketball, as, you know, NIL, and in terms of just guys not really being loyal anymore, and maybe having somebody who played in the pros and understands contracts is a little better than having a college athlete who is just looking for top dollar year in, year out.
Right, yeah. Badgers softball, RJ, I know their season is over with, but they did pick up a win in the tournament. They defeated Baylor, then they fell to Texas, and then they had a rematch against Baylor, and Baylor ended up getting the revenge game over there. But you look at this team, and it's such, when we look at spring sports for Wisconsin Badgers and such, you know, would you say over the last few years, or maybe even in the future, trajectory-wise, is softball kind of the cream of the crop for Badger spring sports?
Yeah, you also have track and field in there. Mostly they're distance runners, and the field participants have been doing awesome lately. They've never really been like a sprinter kind of a school as a whole. They've had a couple of years where they've had amazing athletes there, but for the most part, it's distance and field participants. But yeah, the softball. Yvette Healy has 8 of the 10 tournament appearances since she's been here. The team had an incredible run into the Big Ten tournament, ended up, upsetting Oregon, made it to the NCAAs, like you said, went 1-2 in there, and lost a revenge game to Baylor. But I mean, it was still an awesome game to watch. The only one that wasn't was the drubbing by Texas.
Yeah.
So even I think even if they would end up being Baylor, they would have gone 2-2 because that Texas team just manhandled Wisconsin. But overall, great season. I guess I didn't realize it had been that long, but I mean, we've been talking about them for a while now, because we always used to have to go out to the Eugene regional and end up playing Oregon and some of those other West Coast teams that, have the luxury of being able to play year round, where Wisconsin usually has to go on a tour of the southern states and southern tournaments to be able to start play in late March, early April. So just awesome to see what the program has become since they started. It's definitely one. I personally have never been to a game because a lot of their games, they go into double headers and the second game starts while I'm still at work. So it's hard to make it to some games. And then on weekends, it's not like I'm not really trying to get downtown to watch softball for multiple reasons, because it's a hassle just to get there. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of good parking there. There's some things working against the softball team, but I do know people who go and go regularly, so they do get the crowds of girls going to watch softball because they're softball players and they want to be softball players at Wisconsin. So it's having that there that really helps out. And the team is filled with some pretty darn good players.
I don't know if I asked you this last week, but last question for you. Your thoughts on the expanded field for college basketball?
I mean, it's a money grab, right? They have added 8 more teams. The 2 now opening nights cover the 12, 16, whatever seeds they're going to end up being. I still think automatic bid teams shouldn't be playing in those games, but they're essentially now created to put the mid-major teams who qualify that might be questionable into those games, really, and weed them out so you can just have greater eyeballs on the TV, and it's more of a eliminating the mid-major Cinderellas from the NCAA tournament and allowing some, power conference Cinderellas that snuck in, and now Bruce Pearl's son can have a horrible team and get Auburn into the tournament. Great.
Mm-hmm,
but yeah, it's purely a money grab so they can have more games on that first 2 days of Tuesday and Wednesday. If those teams end up winning, it's going to be that's a long first weekend of 3 games in 6 days. So good luck, and hopefully it just doesn't keep expanding, because at some point, even though there's 300 and some odd teams in Division I basketball, there's plenty of teams who do not deserve to play for an NCAA championship. And it's cool. It was cool enough at 64 where, you do have the Cinderella runs and things like that. And some of those teams are good enough, at least were in a non-NIL era, where of somebody on, look at Miami of Isles roster. I mean, they're just gone now.
Mm-hmm.
And they all are going on. I mean, one's here at Wisconsin. They're all going on to play at other schools or going, pro in whatever. But it's more of a move to just not have mid-major Cinderellas.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Hey, he's RJ Cardinal, our Badger dude. Appreciate the time as always, man. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the week, Memorial Day weekend and such, and we'll catch up with you next time, buddy.
Sounds great. We'll talk to you then.
You got it. There you go. RJ Cardinal. Good stuff as always with RJ every Tuesday. Hey, let's take a quick break. We got to play a little catch up. We'll be right back after these few words. Hey, with that gorgeous weather on the horizon here with us in the Chippewa Valley, don't forget about live music happy hours on the patio every summer Saturday from 3 to 6 p.m. at our good friends, the VFW Post 305. Bring your camera, take in the view, watch the resident Raptors hunt and fish, grab a drink, and enjoy some great live music performed by so many talented local musicians. VFW Post 305 will be featuring some food and drink specials, and of course, your four-legged friends are always welcome. That's every summer Saturday from 3 to 6 p.m., the VFW Post 305, located on Star Avenue in Eau Claire. Spit it out, Dad. Don't forget, next month is Father's Day, one of the most important holidays of the year. Hint, hint. But they've got their special Father's Day buffet Sunday, June 21st from 7 a.m. to noon. So if you're looking to treat Dad on Father's Day, don't forget about our good friends at the VFW Post 305. So, Rando from Chippewa Falls says, Alvarez upset several fans by his reaction when the team was playing so bad. He is knowledgeable, but new blood is never a bad thing. Let me throw it out to you. So we were talking about we were talking to RJ Cardinal about this, but with the Badger committee putting together a committee to find the new athletic director. Just an informal poll question I'm going to throw out there for you all. Would you include Barry Alvarez on that search committee? They did not. Would you have included Barry Alvarez? Yay or nay? Thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think? Let me know. Okay, let me know. I think for me, I would probably say no. Probably not. I'd probably not. I'd go in a different direction. And like RJ and Rando kind of said there too, maybe try to get some new blood into there. It's a new wave, right? So I probably wouldn't either. But what about the rest of you? All right, hit me up, 715-830-1912. Texter had asked, did I see that sports radio host Adam say that the Steelers will have more wins than the Packers this year? Adam Shine? Yeah, I saw it. I will say this. First, who knows? But Adam Shine has always been a huge Mike McCarthy backer and Aaron Rodgers backer. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I will say that is probably part that feeds into it. He is when Mike McCarthy was in Green Bay, I think there was a piece too that one of his final years in Green Bay, I think it was one of his preseason picks. He had the Packers win a Super Bowl, and I think he even threw in the line that they will build statues of Mike McCarthy in Green Bay. So he has definitely been a big back. Again, nothing wrong with that at all, but don't get up in arms about it. Okay, just don't. It's still weird to see Mike McCarthy, though, Aaron Rodgers wearing the same swag back on the field together. Yeah, gosh, isn't time a weird thing? Those two win a Super Bowl against the Steelers, and 16 years later, they're both on the Steelers. Life is funny sometimes, man. All right, we got to play a little catch-up here. First of all, before we do, we got a couple more texts coming in here. I don't think that I would include him. His knowledge is great, but college football has changed so much from when he was there. It's not as much about recruiting as making money and working in the portal. No on Barry. It's a new world under NIL. Personally, I don't know how Troy Vincent isn't on the top of the list for AD. Maybe he is, though, sir. We don't know. I don't know if that would be something that he would be interested in moving on from the NFL. I know he has been talked about as maybe a potential replacement for Goodell as commissioner. Maybe. I would imagine Chris Ballard has a very good read on Troy Vincent since they're both involved in the NFL. But I've seen that name being floated out there as a possibility. All right, we got to take a quick break as we wrap up the third quarter. Keep your thoughts coming. I always enjoy chatting with y'all. All right, we'll be right back in just a couple minutes. When it comes to quality meat in Eau Claire, there's one name that us locals trust, and that's Mike's Star Market. From hand-cut steaks and fresh ground beef to homemade brats and specialty items, everything is prepared with care and packed with flavor. Planning a cookout, maybe for Memorial Day weekend, or maybe you're just filling the freezer, or just looking for something for dinner tonight? Mike's Star Market, they've got you covered. Stop on in today and taste the difference. Mike's Star Market, your hometown butcher shop in Eau Claire. Just a few minutes left until the top of the hour here. So we'll get back to some more Brewers talk as we get set for Game 2. Game 2 of this series between the Brewers and Cubs. We've got the Miz Kid on the mound tonight. Jacob Mizorowski. Is he the best, hardest throwing starting pitcher of all time? Maybe, according to one writer at MLB.com. We'll hit that up coming up here in just a little bit. So talk about that. Jake Bauers. I want to talk a little bit more about Jake Bauers coming up here, as he kind of been an unsung hero for this team so far this year. Talk about a list of unsung heroes maybe for the Brewers. You could throw Chris Hook in there. You could maybe throw Jacob Bauers in there, Kyle Harrison, some of these relievers like an Aaron Ashby. I think there's quite a few of them for this Brewers ball club this year. So we'll talk some more Brewers coming up in the final hour of the program. Also, give me your Toyson Ford Grind My Gears Tuesday. What in the world is grinding your gears? Okay. Also, give me a sports confession. I confess that I'm trying to think of something to give you an example. I confess I don't own a Brewers jersey. I don't know. That was kind of dumb. That was lame. But, just come on. Give me a confession. And then I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. I'm not saying blank, but I'm just saying blank. Hey, as a reminder, don't forget to sign up for the 6th annual Casper Classic by heading to sportstalk1051.com or WAYYradio.com. Sign up your two-person team for the Classic that is happening on Friday, August 7th. It looks like we only, after I update some of the tee times here, I'll probably have to do that later today, but it looks like 10 a.m. is going to be closed up. So we still got times for the 1 p.m., and we still got times for the 7:30 if you want to golf with Surveyor Sam. Not like literally golf with Surveyor, but he'll be a part of that group. So more info again. Just head to our website, or you could go to 715store.com. Two-person team. You get a couple drink tickets. You get a lunch. You get your cart. You get your round for golf. All proceeds going to help Backyard Dreams. So a big thanks to everybody who signed up. Big thanks to our partners so far. We've got Superior Auto Body. We've got Myron Construction. We've got VFW Post 305. We've got Hy-Vee. We've got Window World. If you would be interested in partnering up or maybe being a whole sponsor or just donating a raffle prize in that, reach out and we'll talk. All right. But get your two-person team signed up before time runs out. You may think you've got time because it's May, and that's not till August, but I can tell you after I update like the 10 a.m. tee times today, it'll probably be in the single digits for that tee time. So, as soon as that one probably goes, the 1 p.m. is going to go quick too because we have sold out every single year. So, all right. Well, coming up, shot clock's going to cut me off here in a minute. So we'll talk some more Brewers coming up in the next hour as we get set for Game 2. I want to talk a little bit more about Jacob Misiorowski, and I want to talk about some of the bullpen pitchers too. Another fantastic performance from the bullpen in last night's game. Druin, man. Brewers just have this unique bullpen right now. And Pat Murphy last night made a really good comparison of these tag team type of games that we are seeing a lot from the Brewers. So we'll touch on that here in a little bit as well. All right, last hour for your chance for participation points. If you keep the conversation going, I might send you some swag in that. So, all right, quick break. We got some news updates, and we'll be right back in just